Good morning, everyone, and welcome to MATHurdays. Math's so fun. We do it on Saturdays. My name is Teresa Wills, and you probably already have the link to the slides if you are here, but just in case, here it is in the chat box again. And I have my contact information on slide 2. You can click and email me, visit my website, Twitter handle, and YouTube channel. And I try to stay pretty active in all of them. On slide 3 are where you can find many more templates and past recordings of MATHurdays, along with blank slides and completed slide templates. So there's a lot there for you to use and choose from. And I always like to start off with, what are your successes and celebrations that are happening in your world? And you can put those on slide 4. If you are new to MATHurdays, first of all, welcome. We always use interactive slides, which means that you can add text boxes, images, and more right to the screen. And these are interactive, so definitely jump in and add to it. If you're just joining us, welcome. Sorry about the little tech snafu there. I see that we're all here now. And as our successes and celebrations are coming in, let me share my screen here. There we go. I know for me, all my flowers have bloomed, which just makes me so happy. And so I'm enjoying kind of gardening and cleaning up the front yard a little bit. So I've got a picture of that. Who completed their mathematical mindset course yesterday? Could you tell us a little bit about it? What's involved? If you have any links or anything else, we'd love to know more about it.
The book study, and all of us would just log on Wednesday morning. We'll watch a video, we'll discuss, and we'll post our responses. And lately we haven't been able to. It's been crazy busy, so I had to just do all by myself, but it was good. A lot of the messages that Jopo had mentioned, I've seen and heard before, because I don't know how many of her books I have. And I've also attended a previous math mindset course. I can't remember the name of it, but I also attended the free version for students. And so I'm also on the data science course that I have not completed. So that's my next to do.
Awesome. Well, that sounds exciting. I love Joe Bowler stuff, and thanks for sharing it with us. Somebody wrote only 2 weeks left of the semester. So who's that? And does this mean that you are frantically grading, frantically turning in papers, or just starting to relax a little bit?
It just means that we have one more week of instruction, which means final exams, which is when all the chaos truly happens, and all the last minute pleading and begging and deal making. So it'll be interesting. Always is.
Indeed. Well, I hope you have a smooth end of your semester. Raha, how's 4 days a week going? Let us know what that means. I know my kids go to the same county schools that you teach in, but we have folks from all over. So what does 4 days mean, and how's it going?
Good morning, Teresa. So our district started 4 days. Well, my school, actually, no, our district started a while ago. My school started 4 days a week this week. It meant that I'm concurrent, so I have kids both virtual and in person at the same time. My class is pretty in the middle. I have 10 in person and 13 online, so it is a little crazy juggling both. My kids that are online are the kids that are more gen ed, and I wish they were in person to elevate the thinking in the class. But I think I found a way to paraphrase or something where the kids are talking to each other and they're excited to learn. So it's been exhausting. I crashed around 5:30 last night, and I missed my fast breaking, but I woke up enough I mean, woke up in time to eat a little bit and then I went back to sleep. But it's great. It's very rewarding and I love having the kids in person.
It's so nice to hear about, not only how things are, starting to
Teresa, I
head
think
back.
your mic is off.
That's part of Zoom. Boy, I'm going to get used to that whole mic part. Yeah, so, going back, there's so many new challenges, but also, so many more ways of building that community. Um, Over on the right hand side, I'm going to kind of color code it so you know what I'm talking about. The green one there, supporting teachers. What's your role and how do you support teachers?
Hi, Teresa. It's Kathy. I'm a math consultant for our school division. We have about 5,000 teachers in our school division. And so I support teachers in K-9 mathematics. And we've hit another kind of lockdown. So our secondary teachers from grade 7 to 12 are back online. And we're trying to figure out whether our K-6, our elementary students and teachers will stay in person. They are right now, but it all depends on variants and cases and all of that. So it's just a back and forth.
Well, I hope you can get some good tips today to support those teachers even more. It's a tough time of year at the end of the school year because people are ready to just start to unwind, but we do have these changes and things that are happening. So here, let's start off with another routine to get us some, still some fun. I do see one person who's not able to get in, and oh my goodness, I would love to be able to support them. Whoa. I'm going to leave that there. Alrighty. On slide 5, I have a routine called unit chats. This is such a fun routine. It reminds me of the importance of units, and I was a middle school teacher first and foremost for so long, and we would do these units in geometry where we would say 4 inches, and if kids didn't have their units right, we would take off a point here. But there was really no purpose to it other than that was part of the geometry unit. So this next routine is to give purpose to units. So if you would join me down on slide 6, get your creative juices rolling, and you are going to tell us a number like 6, and then the unit that goes with it. 6 what? So what do you see in this image? Grab yourself a little color-coded area, put what you see, and then drag your arrow to kind of show us what it is. And for an example, I put that there are 18 broken pieces, and I've moved my arrow to show what a broken piece might look like. And if you are the pale green one, I'm going to give you a nice bold outline so I'm talking about you there. You put 10 whole hexagons. And can you tell us a little bit more about that? What do you mean by a whole hexagon?
Good morning, Teresa. Buenos dias. So I noticed that there are whole hexagons, if I think of it as a whole piece, even though the red ones, the blue ones, and the green ones are divided into fractional pieces. If I'm looking at it as a whole piece, a polygon of 6 sides, there are 10 of them.
Beautiful. And in the bright blue there, again, I'm going to use my outline to let you know I'm talking to you. We just heard that there's 10 whole hexagons. So what do you mean by 1 whole hexagon? Where's that at?
Good morning. I have my arrow on the right side that I'm trying to make it straight. And I'm just pointing to it that, this is 1 whole.
cool. So we've got hexagons. We've talked about 10 and 1. And in the red here, we've got 6 rhombus pieces. And I can see that clearly there. If you want to let us know on that, why you say that these are rhombus pieces, and are there any other words that your students use to describe those blue pieces?
A lot of times they'll say they're diamonds.
Yeah. I've also heard students, especially those who are really into the Minecraft, call these the blue cubes, like their mind sees it as this 3-dimensional cube just because of the way that it's laid out and more. All right, folks, so when it comes to unit chats on slide 5, this is a link to many, many more images already created, which is just fabulous to not have to recreate things ourselves as teachers. So there's directions for how to do it in a class, lots and lots of images and more. So check that out. And you'll have access to the template if you like the little color-coded arrows. Sometimes I like my students to identify what the whole is in their description. All right, we're going to jump on down into our rich task. One of the joys of MATHurdays is that we can really dive into some rich mathematics, and this one today is a complete joy to do. But before we start, I'd like to offer everyone the opportunity to make a problem-solving oath. It's on slide 8. Come and view it with me. And as I say this out loud, read it to yourself. And if this is something you want to pledge today, type your name in the chat box so you can hold yourself accountable. I, Teresa, promise to try my best. I will make sense of patterns and numbers. I will use manipulatives and drawings. I will make mistakes. I will ask questions. I will listen to other ideas. I will stay engaged by always trying to find another solution or representation. I am a problem solver. I make the world a better place. You can see we have lots of great problem solvers with us. And our task is on slide 9. I don't know about you all, but hot apple cider is one of my favorite things in the world. I was teaching my own children, I have a 2nd and a 3rd grader, how to make this. And they were having fun putting way too much cinnamon in it. So this actually comes out of a true story. And as you read it, you might be thinking, wow, that's a lot of cinnamon too. So there's a very logical part 2 to go along with this. It says, Amani created a mixture using 3/4 cup of sugar and 1/2 cup of cinnamon to add to some hot apple cider. If Amani uses 1/16 cup of the mixture for each serving of hot apple cider, how many servings can she make with her mixture? Amani estimates that she will need 150 servings for the Apple Festival. How much of each ingredient will she need to make enough for the Apple Festival? So that is your task. There are a lot of great virtual manipulatives to get started with. I've listed some on slide 10 if you're looking for them, but you're not restricted to those. Feel free to use the entire interwebs and any interactivity that you like. And I'm going to pop you into Breakout Rooms. And if you are new to Zoom, which, gosh, all the times I've done this, these days, everyone seems to be very fluent in Zoom, but if not, head over to your Zoom tab. You're going to get an invite to the breakout room, and that's where you can head into your room. So again, you'll need to kind of tab over to Zoom. And Lara and Lisa, if you want to try to tab over to Zoom, it'll be like, hey, do you want to go to room number? And then you just click that button to go into it. Hi, Lisa. If you need a hand with it, just let me know. I know you all are used to using Collaborate with me. Zoom will give you a little like pop-up window, which can be a little tricky if you have a lot of windows open. You might need to minimize a lot of stuff to see it. Alrighty, if you're watching this recording afterwards, I am now going to head over to the breakout rooms. Gonna listen in to what they're saying, see if they have need any support understanding the problem and getting their work up on their interactive slides.
Okay, let's see. I need to sketch it out. I need to like brainstorm and just do a brain dump.
Amy, that's actually the way that I like to do these too. And did you know that you can even put your paper pencil work up on the slide?
Oh, what do you mean?
I'm going to put some directions
Okay.
on your group 3 slide so you can see how to do that. But yeah, feel free to use paper pencil. That is very much a part of the sessions.
Okay. That sounds good.
I'm gathering there's some information left out on purpose.
Like what?
Let's see. It's almost like reassigning what the whole is.
Yes.
Yeah,
it
that's
is
why I had to. Yeah.
definitely reassigning the whole. And it,
Like referent whole. What's it called again? Reference or referent whole?
Oh,
when you're
yeah,
reassigning
there
it?
is a term for that. I always just call it redefining the whole, but
Yeah, that makes
there you
sense.
go.
Yeah, because it's funny. First, you tell us about how much it is together, and then you want us to think about it individually, because you want us to figure out for each of the ingredients.
Yeah, so it goes small, gets big, goes small again. Yeah. Feel free to try and draw it out to think about how to do it. There's also some really fantastic virtual manipulatives on slide 10.
I have no idea how to use. I don't see the connection between the manipulatives and the problem.
Oh, Naomi, I love using tape diagrams. So if I
Yeah.
were to use
Yeah.
kind of manipulatives, I tend to do tape diagram. It helps me visualize what the whole is and all the
Right.
different parts.
Well, it's 3/4. Well, but
That I think we have to figure out, because it says 1/16 cup of the mixture. Maybe it is okay from the 1 1/4.
Right. Well, or unless maybe like, so is it, so she uses 1/16 cup of the mixture for each serving. So is it then that mixture that gets diluted with like the apple cider itself, like the sugar and the cinnamon? So to make the cider, she needs 1/16 of that 1 1/4.
Yeah.
I need some help in understanding the question. So the 3/4 cup of sugar and then 1/2 cup of cinnamon, mix it and then add it to apple cider.
Yes, but you're only taking a part of that mix. So you have a 1.25 cups, but you're only taking 1/16 of a cup each time out of that mix, I think.
Right, because the mix is just the sugar and cinnamon, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's like she's got her spices or her like sugar cinnamon mix that she then mixes with the cider itself.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So I'm using Mathagon. And
Okay.
the fraction pieces in there, and they don't have 16ths. So I use the eighths instead of 2 times the number of eighths
Nice.
to show how many servings from the original recipe.
Well,
Yeah.
that's awesome. So of the 1 1/4, she can get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 20 because she's got, because you've got 2/16 within the 8.
Wait,
So if she,
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, wait a minute. I think I did that wrong.
I think it's 20 servings. I think it's 2
it's
times
20.
10.
I got it. Yeah, I got it. I double did it. Let me fix that.
1,
Yeah.
2, 3.
I'll fix it. It's 2
7,
times 10
20
equals
It's 2
servings.
times 10, yeah.
times 10 equals 20 servings. I'm going to take out the old and from the original. Okay. And as I say, I'm using Mathagon, which is new to me.
Right. I only learned about it like a couple weeks ago from Teresa.
But I'm kind of trying it, as a new thing here, like you are.
Okay, so while you're doing that, Gail, I'm thinking 1 cup, you're going to get 16 servings, and then the extra 1/4 cup is that extra. Okay, I'm struggling with that. I like the visual. It helps me a lot.
Yeah, it does. Oh, now I typed. Oh gosh, it doesn't seem.
Well, so if from that original 1 1/4, we're getting 20 servings.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Yeah.
I still don't have it typed right. I'll fix it.
Okay, if it's too hard, Gail, we can just type over it.
I'm fixed.
Okay, so this would be 48. This would be 32. So 60?
80.
80.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Okay, now what do y'all think? We can double again. That gets us 160. And then we can take half and take it off.
Yes.
We can add 40, 80, and 40. We've got 100 and we can combine all these to get 140 and then take half. Let's double one more time and then take off half of the gray box.
Okay, let's do it. So we'll double it again.
Oh, thank you so much for doing this. Hey, it looks like we can go down and then head back up. And then we'll go and find some lovely manipulatives.
Honestly, sometimes it's okay to just do it. We're just being high schoolers this time. 96. 64.
I can guarantee if my kids set this up as a proportion, they wouldn't do any thinking. They just set up a proportion, cross multiply, divide.
Right. But see, doubling is also proportions. We're just thinking it more cognitively.
But they would go straight from the 20 to the 150 and not use any reasoning and just be happy. And they change all their fractions to decimals because they hate fractions so bad. Okay, now let's go up and let's half the gray.
Right.
So now we go
Half the gray. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to take 160 minus 10. So now let's go to 6/16.
So it would be, sorry. My brain processed a little bit.
16th. So when you do 5/4 divided by 1/16, you get 20 servings
Yeah, that's what that's exact.
of
Yeah,
the
my
mixture.
Yeah, my tape diagram actually shows that.
And then now you can figure out how much she would need for the 150 from there.
What I'm trying really hard not to go to the algorithm. So I'm trying really hard to try to visualize, and that's why I was trying to draw my tape diagram, partitioning it out. But I'm like struggling, and I love it.
So I made the tape diagram look like this, right? I made it look like this. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then I said like all of these, all of that going like that would be 16th, and this is the 5/4, and then therefore you would end up with it ends up being 80 over 4 equals 20. Because you're getting 80 of these.
Naomi, did you want to put your tape diagram on your group slide so we can see it?
Yeah, I can. Let me see where I have to insert image and then go to my camera. My tape diagram's not very elegant looking.
And Amy, I see that your video's on. If you wanted to do any paper pencil on the slide, you would just need to make sure your video is off on Zoom before you do what that little graphic is showing there.
Oh, I'm on Jamboard. Meaning I'm doing paper pencil, but I'm really
Yeah.
still using a
So
Jamboard on the
another
side.
thing is you can also, take a screenshot and put it on, and there's some directions for screenshots to the right. Whatever would help your group to see in the collaborative space.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that was what mine looked like, right? So I had the 16 lines.
Oh.
I'm dividing it by 16.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, they gave me 80/4, which gives you the 20 servings.
Nice. Thank you.
Does that make sense? I chopped the 5/4 into 80 pieces, so therefore you get 80/4.
Oh, thank you. Is that Naomi?
No, mine is the Post-it note that's up there. Mine is this one. That's the Post-it note. All right, and you divide it into 16 equal pieces there. Yeah, so I think we showed the 20 kind of in the same way. I did kind of like the tape diagram, like as an area model.
Mm-hmm.
And whoever did this one, divided these 5/4 into 16 equal pieces.
Yeah,
Right?
this right here, this image right here, that was what in my mind I was thinking, but I wasn't able to partition into 16 equal pieces. And so I'm like, Yeah, so this is the one that I was thinking of, but I wasn't able to do. Yeah. So then, let's see. We're looking at each individual
Now you want
ingredient.
50 servings, is that what it said? We have to have 150 servings?
Mm-hmm.
I guess what I'm a little stuck on is that it asks how much of each ingredient. That's the part, I guess, that's stumping me, because if it's each ingredient, then should we be thinking about the cinnamon and the sugar together?
Yeah, so you're going to take
Fraction pieces?
Fraction pieces.
Fractions.
Oh, there.
Under the tiles.
Yeah.
Pick the fractions and I drag them over, and at the right-hand side of them, when you drag them over, you can shorten or lengthen them.
Cool.
Oh, I did fraction bars. I'll take a screenshot. But yours, see, I like that you can do the copy paste, control C, because on the fraction circles, fraction bars app, you can't. That's pretty cool.
And I could just I could highlight my top row and just hit C and
Duplicate it.
Down and
Yeah.
it duplicates it really nicely.
You know,
And
what,
Lori, sorry, go ahead.
I wonder whether you can share screen so that you can also kind of like share with us how you did it.
Okay, let me see if we have screen share here.
Yeah, it's at the bottom in the middle. I think you'll be able to do it if you're given permission, Gail. Depends on.
Yeah, I know. Let's see. Here we go. There we go.
Yay.
Oh, yay. So, okay. So that's how you duplicated each row.
Now.
Yeah, and
Oh.
all the while we have to keep thinking we're doing 16th. So that's the only limitation on this one is it doesn't have 16th unless it allows you to create it.
No.
Can
But
we
see
break it?
See how I'm highlighting there?
Right. Yeah.
And once it's all highlighted, you just hit the C key and it duplicates it.
Right. So
Oh.
then that's how you could scale up so quickly.
That's how you can scale up really nicely. And I can delete that. And you down on the color, you can change the color so that I have all the sugar in the same color and so on.
Wow.
Mhm.
Very nice.
Yeah, you can extend the, like the eighths down at the bottom. I had it originally and I just shortened and lengthened it
Wow.
to get the eighths like I wanted it.
And it's in proportion when you do that too.
Yes.
That's great.
And you can, you know, get more than a whole. So you can get, you know,
Mm-hmm.
however much, that's how I could get the servings at the top.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause I could extend it past a whole. So I really like this.
Yeah.
Nice.
See, you can split tiles, you know, in the bottom.
Oh yeah, split tiles.
Yeah, I wonder whether we can split it so that it will get the 1/16. I don't know, you know, you can play with it and see.
Oh,
It
to
did
reduce
not-
it.
It split off the 1/8 from each other, but it didn't split them
Oh, okay.
into 16ths.
I see.
When I split them, it separates those 1/8 into.
So that you have the 1/8 unit.
Right.
Okay. Oh, can we increase? That is awesome. Thank you for sharing.
So one thing that I noticed since we were sharing that was a little too much cinnamon that Teresa has like as an extension to think about like, so apparently this person also got the feedback that they had too much cinnamon in their recipe. So how would we reduce, like, what would be a way to, like, what would be a reasonable amount of cinnamon?
About a tablespoon in a cup of sugar.
Yeah.
That's what I like. Because
A tablespoon, my goodness.
I like yeah.
But then it didn't say anything about how much apple cider we have though.
Right.
It may be a 5-gallon jar.
Oh, that's true. Because then that way you would need to know the liquid amount because a tablespoon of cinnamon in a 5-gallon jar or half a cup in a it does make a difference.
Yeah, but I think if you think 3/4 cup of sugar and a half cup of cinnamon, just that relationship is at a it's
totally
strong
out
for the cinnamon.
So I wonder if it's just like establishing a ratio of like for every 1/4 cup of sugar, it should be 1 tablespoon of cinnamon or 2 tablespoons, you said, Gail?
I'm trying to think if it's a teaspoon per 1/4 cup or a tablespoon per whole cup, something around that level.
Like what the perfect ratio should be.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, and
Well, and
that-
remember, whatever we make, it's you just take 1/16 of it. That would be interesting to figure out how to scoop that out. 1/16, depending the size of the mixture, right?
Mhm.
I'm not sure how I would do that, but I think Gail, the
Okay.
table idea is
let's
better.
Let's go for a tablespoon per 1/4 cup.
1 tablespoon to every 1/4 cup of sugar.
One.
Is that good? Let's see. Perfect ratio. I'm looking it up now. I do it by sight because I have a cinnamon sugar in a little jar and I
Yeah.
put it.
Where I was stuck, I was really stuck on redefining what the one whole was, and that's why I was like, I have 5 boards, I'm not able to partition it, and so I don't know why I was just stuck there.
I think
Does that
because we
make-
keep thinking of the mixture as the whole thing. But then we said 5/4 cups of the mixture. So you actually created a different, so you know what I mean? You put the mixture in terms of 1 cup. So that was, yeah, I can see where you could do that.
Yes. There are certain times when redefining what the whole is will work, and other times you just keep the whole as is. And yeah, no, thank you.
So, folks, let me ask you, what are the units of the two things that you were calling a whole?
The 1 cup, I put 1 cup as my whole there. That was, did you want more on it as far as describing what it was?
Yeah, so one of the wholes is 1 cup, but there's another whole that we're talking about that you guys were just referencing a minute ago. What else could we say is 1 whole?
Is it all the dry ingredients, the sugar and the cinnamon? The 5/4 is your whole.
I love that you changed it to dry ingredients. I think at least my teacher brain was waiting to hear mixture. Like there's 1 mixture, but because you called it dry ingredients, you gave so much more clarity to that. So we have 1 cup and we have like 1, I don't know about you all, I would store this in a mason jar, but like a mason jar of the dry ingredients. And so they're not the same amount, but yet we keep calling them the whole. And so really trying to make sure, like that's kind of why we did that little warm up with the unit chat, is what is the whole? And we're actually going to come back together in 1 minute here, but one of our first whole group discussions, haha, pun intended, is what's the whole? And, if this group can really bring it, like in all the discussions that you had, and Amy, I'd love to hear that dry ingredient. That would be a great start to our discussion.
Sounds good. Thank you. I'm not sure we solved anything here.
You did. It's funny. Our MATHurdays, some groups will really go into like solving the answer. And then other groups will be like, no, we're going off on this tangent to see what this manipulative is going to do. And because we are all educators, like we really have that flexibility. And it really supports us in our PD and differentiating it for us.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
You say what happened? Okay, that's okay. Oh, okay, they're coming.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the main room. I'm really excited for the discussion about this because each group really tackled this situation in a very different way. Some folks were really into just playing with manipulatives. Others were trying to like find an answer, and others were just like talking about the way that they would do this in their classroom. One of the things that I try to do at the end of our work time is bring it together in a cohesive discussion. On slide 16 are the protocols that I use for this. I'm really busy during that work time, monitoring, listening in, questioning people, but also selecting a couple strategies that are really going to work with our whole class discussion. And so on slide 17 is our first question and some student work or some sample work that I got from you all. And I'd love to kind of turn it over to our group 3, who really talked about like what is the whole and what makes this problem tricky. So is there someone from group 3 that can kind of talk to us about what the whole is?
If group 3 doesn't mind, I'll start, and if anyone wants to jump in, please jump in. That way I don't misspeak for us. So I'll talk about my struggle here. I was thinking about the 3/4 cups of sugar and then 1/2 cup of cinnamon, and I'm just thinking, okay, if I'm looking at these two ingredients as the thing that we're looking for, that would be my whole. So I'm thinking about all these dry ingredients, because eventually we're mixing liquid in there. So these dry ingredients, I have 3/4 and I have the 1/2. So even though it's equals 5/4, I'm thinking as that thing, the 5/4, it's my whole. So I'm just redefining, instead of just 1 cup of something, I'm thinking about these dry ingredients will be my whole. And because it's 5/4, for whatever reason, I just got stuck on how do I find 1/16 of a cup from the 5/4. I just got stuck. But that was where I was thinking. And if any of my group members want to speak out, that'd be great.
No, and it was really cool that she was thinking aloud, because at the beginning I was like going mixture. I was thinking liquid. And so I was like, no, there's not enough information here. She didn't tell us how much apple juice we were putting in it. And then as they were talking, I was going, oh, it's the dry ingredients that's the mixture. And then when Amy was talking, I was like, oh, she's thinking of the whole batch of dry ingredients as opposed to 1 cup of the dry ingredients, because later on it talked about 1/16 of a cup. And I was like, that's the whole. So you want 1 cup as your whole. And so it was a nice conversation to see where everybody was going and how we all we went off on a little tangent, and then we're like, oh, now we get it. It all of a sudden became very clarifying. Yep.
And that's going to be the topic of our discussions here is we're going to constantly say, but what is the whole? And I hope you make a connection back to that warm up that we did about unit chat and making your units there. All right, so I found 2 representations. We'll call them the blue and the orange because of the lovely outlines. And in the orange representation down there, I've highlighted it in 3 colors, purple, yellow, and green. And what I'd like us to do is to make connections by moving those arrows to the blue. So if you think you see where that is, you can move one of those arrows up to the blue to identify those pieces. And while we're doing that, if you were the author of the orange, would you just kind of give us an idea of how you were organizing your thinking here? And everyone else can be moving arrows as the author is speaking.
Teresa, Raha did our typing.
What slide are you on? Wait, what slide are we on?
We're on 17.
Okay. Teresa, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. We went to 16ths right away because we saw that somewhere the question had something about it takes 1/16 of the mixture to make a serving, I think is what it said. So I immediately thought of let's make common denominators of 16ths. So we did that, and we have our sugar is 12/16 with 3/4, etc. Then we have our cinnamon. So one mixture would be 20/16 cups. That would be one whole recipe, I think you could say. And then it doesn't show, but we divided the 20/16 by 1/16 to come up with our 20 servings. So we definitely see it up here, except they used 8ths instead of 16ths. Does that make sense?
It totally does. And I would love the person who's doing the beautiful dotted lines there. Tell us a little bit more about why you're editing this and how that relates to what Lisa had just said.
Hi, Teresa, it's Raha. So today Lisa, Karina, and I were talking about, we wanted to do it in an abstract way and then go back to the manipulatives. And this is how I would teach it to the kids. When we're really doubling or we're making equivalent fractions, we're kind of splitting up the fractions we have by cutting them into more pieces. So if I can make 16ths from 8 by doubling it, if that makes sense. But it's not the same doubling as what Lisa said. So I don't want to confuse others.
So there's actually a lot of doubling and halving going on, which is kind of a perfect segue into our next slide here. If we want to move down to slide 18, I want to first talk about the gray to the orange to the yellow. If this was you, tell us how this idea of doubling has helped you solve the problem.
Okay, this is back to us. So we doubled the 20 servings to 40 and we doubled each of the ingredients. But we realized that you only double the numerators and not the denominators because each little piece of the entire recipe is still 1/16. And then we doubled the 40 to the 80. And you've seen what else we did. So we always double the numerator, but not the denominator. And I think if we look at this white piece, let's see, I'd have to think about that one.
So I like this kind of rule that you're thinking of. You only double the numerator, not the denominator. Because I don't know about you all, but that sounds like something that I would start to buy into for this problem. It's not just like a teacher telling me to do it. Let's do a quick chat waterfall. So head over to your chat box. Again, that's in Zoom. You might need to minimize your windows to find it. I have the statement on our slide. You only double the numerator, not the denominator. In the chat box, tell us why, but don't hit enter. We're all going to hit enter at the same time. Why do you only double the numerator and not the denominator? So one thing that's really fun with online learning is students can start their chat box about like why they would do this. But sometimes I still don't want them to hit enter yet. I really want them to think about maybe they should revise their thinking. Maybe they could use one more support with it. And so I'm going to actually head to slide 19. And when we're done with this explanation, then you'll hit enter. So on slide 19, it looks like you all are starting to do something here. And I did take a screenshot early, so I know it's not finished. But what were you starting to do here? What is this picture showing us?
Okay, back to us. Then after we solved our problem, we went back and started with the manipulative, and we found the fraction bars to show that 3/4 is equal to 12/16. And we knew that one recipe would give us 20 servings. We knew we needed 150 servings. So we started we were going to make 7.5 pictures of this, and we hadn't got to the half, or we were going to make 8 pictures and then subtract a half of a picture somehow. We hadn't gotten that far. To help us see how much, I think this is the sugar we would need for 150 servings.
And I see a bunch of these little 16ths. I'm going to go back to my question. You only double the numerator, not the denominator. Go ahead and hit return in the chat box. Why is that the case? And Remy, I love the way that you wrote this. Can you tell us a little bit more about the equal part? What does that mean?
Oh, it just kind of like determined what fraction piece are you talking about? So if I have 2 equal parts or 3 equal parts or 4 equal parts to represent the whole.
Neat. So we can talk about equal parts. Amy also brings up the name. Tell us how the name can help us here.
I was thinking more, say, when I first dabbled in teaching my kids about fraction, I was just testing out a theory. And I asked the kids, if I have 1 apple plus 1 apple, how many apples? 2 apples. If I have 3 dimes plus 2 dimes, how many dimes? Then they were able to tell me 5 dimes. So when I went into, if I have 1 quarter plus 1 quarter, how many quarter, how much do I have? They were able to say 2 quarters. So then the 16th would be the name of the thing that I'm going to add. So I can't double the name. So then my numerator becomes the quantity that I am going to work with. It's the number that I have. So the denominator is just the thing that I have. So 16th is the thing that I have, the name of it. So then when I double, it will be my, the 14th serving or the 80th or 80 servings, because it became the thing, the name of what I'm working with, if that makes sense.
That name makes a lot of sense to me. You were early on naming things such as the dry ingredients. I don't know about you all, but maybe I might even name, instead of calling it a 16th, I might call it like a tiny scoop or a scoop of the mixture. And so that is less fractiony and more unitizing to me. Let's do an interactive one. Slide 21. So this is what a group did. I want you to take a minute and observe what's happening on slide 21. We have a gray box. They say double and they made it orange. Double the orange made it yellow. Double the yellow made it green. Half the gray made it light green. So what size mixtures could you make? And tell us how you would use that information to solve it. So could you make a mixture for 8 people? If so, what pieces of information would you use? Could you make a mixture for 100 people? Which one would you use? And if someone's in the same box, thanks for your patience and just finding another one there. Usually I assign a color for each student so that they're not confused about where to type. It looks like a lot of people are liking the 10. So if you were the dark green one there, tell us what makes this 10 so inviting if you were this one here.
I think that's me. Trying to go in between. I just think it was just easier with the, for some reason, 10 just, it's hard to explain why, but the 10 just works better for my brain to if you're going to double or triple it or go less.
Yeah, so it's real easy to manipulate. And what the group just said before us is like, well, how do you do a half of one of the bars on slide 19? Like they knew that they wanted to do a half, but they weren't really sure yet how to do it. And so, you know, having the 10 makes things really accessible. Our last one to take a quick peek at is on slide 22. And as they're explaining this, I want to go back to our warm-up when we talked about the units that we saw in those pattern blocks. This time, what units can you see in this image? If you want to go ahead and use the same color you used on the last one, that'll help with that. And while you're identifying the units that you can see, if our group that created this can tell us a little bit about what this is representing.
So we took the original recipe and showed that with the cinnamon and the sugar. And we tried and didn't get the 8 cut, but it would the number of 8s to get 16ths. And I might be having internet troubles, it says. And then we and make count up 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 20, 40 servings. And then we cut those in half to get the 150 servings. So that bottom row was 10 servings.
Oh, so we have this guy here. I'll copy and paste it so we can see. We've got our light green guy right down there at the bottom.
Yep.
Nice. I don't want to cover up those 20s though. That would be bad because that's a unit that you could see. All right, folks, we are at the top of the hour already. I hope that you've enjoyed this problem. Again, it came from a real context with my kiddos who were putting, oh my gosh, far too much cinnamon in it. Then they learned about the cinnamon challenge and they tried it and it was so gross. If you haven't heard of it, go look it up. It's hilarious. There is a part 2 that I always like to include for my early finishers. And that is, you know, Amani was hoping to win first place, but she didn't. And the feedback was that it was way too cinnamony. So how could she change the recipe? And how does this change the total amount? Which I think is a fantastic extension for students without making it really like extra work. It's a natural lead into, well, of course I would want to do this. This is gross. Like, how do I make it better? And another thing that I hope that you saw in this was the interactivity during the whole class discussion. So it's not that every kid has to use the microphone, but we can have these colored boxes on the sides. We can have a side thing for some students to do, like what do you see here, while people are explaining to help them make those connections. And that's really a unique thing that we can do online. So folks, it's been a pleasure. I will happily take any questions that you all have. I'm willing to stay on as long as you all like, but let me know how it goes when you bring this back to your class of, you know, whoever is considered your students or professional development or more. And happy MATHurdays. So yeah, if you have any questions, let me know.
Teresa, will we be doing Zoom from now on for each meeting?
Probably. I'm having a lot of trouble with Collaborate. What will happen is I'll go into Eventbrite and change the link in there so it doesn't come back to Collaborate. But at least for the next couple, I'll make sure that slide 1 looks like this. Collaborate bumped me out for some reason, and I don't know why. I didn't have time to troubleshoot it.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I would say too, like a problem like this with my 7th graders, by the time they come to see me, they are so used to, I'm just going to follow procedures. This would like blow their mind. So this gives me a starting point next year when we do fractions. I'm excited to do some real hands-on things and not just abstract. Thank you. This was great.
Yeah. And you know what? It's really going to challenge them with the abstract because the whole keeps changing, that it is, I mean, it's difficult to wrap your mind around this completely abstractly. Like I can get through a bit of it and then I'm like, oh, wait, what is this number representing? So even if they start doing it fully abstractly, they're going to be forced to write units next to those numbers to make sense of them. And that is our first way of bringing things into more of a contextual language.
Yeah. Great job today, like always.
Yeah, I was going to say, when I teach math for elementary school teachers, they can do the algorithm, but they have no understanding of what's going on in the algorithm. So it's like, okay, write your algorithm down, tell me what you're doing, and then map that out. And all of a sudden they're like, oh, is that what I'm doing? I'm like, yep. Yeah. So
That's right, Stacy. I was trying so hard. I'm like, I'm not going to use an algorithm. I'm going to draw. I'm sticking to my tape diagram, but I'm not, for whatever reason, I wasn't making sense of it whatsoever, just thinking about what the whole is. So I was, one that like, no, I'm not going to use the algorithm because it's something that I share with teachers and students to think visually. How can you draw a picture? And I'm like trying really hard.
Yeah. But like you said, I would just say, if you're comfortable with your algorithm, that's fine. But now let's get the meaning behind it. And so as you start drawing it out, you're like, all of a sudden you're like, oh, that's where I'm not understanding. Because I was like, we're listening to what you were saying and I'm going, that's what she's looking at. Okay, I got it. It's fine. Yeah, I had to map it because I was like,
So often when you make the pictorial and you go back to the abstract, which is kind of where we started on slide 17, we started like, what are two holes that we're talking about? And then we had that purple, that yellow, and that green. Like, where is it on the diagram? And honestly, I could have spent the whole 20 minutes just talking about these two. We can really go in depth here. My discussions when I work with adults are sometimes a little bit different because I try to get a couple grade levels in our discussions. But with students, I'd spend that whole discussion time just on those two, like making sure that they have such a firm understanding of the connection, because then they can do everything else.
Yeah. And
sorry, go ahead.
I just want to ask the question about the first unit chat activity, because I don't think I understand the question. That's why.
So the unit chat is all about seeing things differently. So I could look at this one and I could say that there's 10 things, 10 like hexagons. So I've made my unit that one hexagon, but I could also say that it's equivalent to 20 trapezoids. I could say that I see 6 trapezoids. The important thing is that we see a lot of different numbers here, but the words next to it are what, defines what our whole is. Some of the other pictures include dice, and I think some of those ones might help our understanding too. So here's a one on my screen with avocados. I might say the number with pits, the number without, the number of whole, the number of halves. And that cutting board, to me, I think it's kind of neat that there's a chunk gone. So I might even bring that up.
Yeah. Okay. I at first I thought you want me to pick which one as my unit.
Oh yeah, I could see that. Actually, that's kind of a neat way of looking at it too. I might kind of think about that one some more.
So that's why I also wonder, I appreciate that you accept what we try to explain to the class as if I'm a student. And then continuously, I'm kind of like re-evaluating and then making connection to what we have done in the warm-up. That's why I'm just wondering, if you are in a classroom, not in the Zoom meeting, will you do anything different?
Yeah, if I was in a face-to-face classroom, they'd all have a whiteboard in front of them so that I could see what they're thinking. I would typically have my youngest students in a circle, but like I mentioned before, I was a middle school teacher first and foremost. So even my 7th graders would stand in a circle around the room, write it down, and then they could see each other. So I really want that connection to other people. And then whenever we get, someone looking at that, be like, I don't quite understand why they said 6. I don't see 6 in here. Then that person would get some airtime or some speaking time. And we would kind of do this same format that way.
Great, thank you.
Teresa,
yeah.
Do you have, when you're watching everybody work and the students are working, have you already anticipated what you think you're going to get and then you copy and paste? I'm just trying to think of what you're doing while we're problem solving. You're super busy, and it's like that is what you do is amazing in linking. And so is there sort of a pattern for people to get going if we start trying this?
Yes. So Let me actually bring you up with my anticipation for this one. So what I do is I anticipate a lot of different ways of doing it, and I even think about multiple grade levels. So I've had the background of teaching math in every grade from kindergarten through high school geometry. So I kind of know some learning trajectories in that sense. But let's see, if I did hot apple cider, this one actually is a fantastic example because I have my videos for you. Let's see if I can hit share. Let's make this view only. Okay, so I'm gonna paste a link in the Zoom chat. I'll also stick it on our last slide, our virtual parking lot, and then I'll share my screen. If you want stickers of our problem solving oath also, I've put my email address on that last slide. Send me your mailing address and I'm happy to send them to you. All right, so what you're seeing here are the anticipations that I've done for this particular one. I thought about ways to solve it. There's a rectangular area pictorial representation using fraction tiles, link cubes, circle areas, and a double number line. So these are different ways that I anticipated at the beginning, and there's even some videos that will like walk you through what it is that was done here. Some of the videos are super long, like a whole 6 minutes long. Others are like a minute and a half. But they can kind of walk through what I was expecting. This task I gave to math specialists, which is why I happen to have the videos for it. But I would, if I was doing this with teachers, I would say, hey, create me a quick video, or if we're in person, do it there, of how you might solve this. We would put them all together, think about the different ways that we want to present it in our class, and only then, after we've had that in-depth knowledge of it, do we give it to our students.
Yeah, that sounds amazing, because I think you can't dive in with students when you haven't thought it through with all of its possibilities. And I think the collaboration is necessary, right? Because we all see it differently. So that's awesome. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, folks. Well, I hope I see you another week. Thanks for joining us for MATHurdays. I hope you got a new task that you can use right away, or at least a new routine with the unit chat, or something to think about a little bit longer. And again, I got a big shipment of problem solving with stickers, which I'm super excited about. So if you want them, they're you can put them on water bottles and then run them through your dishwasher. So they're kind of cool like that. My email address is on the homepage. If you want one, just send it to me. I'd love to get this out to more teachers. So have a great rest of your Saturday, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Teresa. Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.